Yo, what up, man? Finally here with another one. Y'all gotta watch these joints, bro. I'm turning these motherfuckers out, and it's like I get it be late, you know what I'm saying? But motherfuckers gotta support, man. Let's get them views up, bro. I ain't doing this shit for my motherfucking health. But anyway, we got Young Dolph, debut album, and let's give a salute to him. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and compare the two Memphis artists who had the better album, blah, blah, blah. But I can admit I enjoyed Young Dolph album a little bit more than I did Yo Gotti's, and I'ma leave it at that. You know what I mean? But overall, you gotta salute him for one, putting out his first debut album. Also, you know what I mean, winning me over as a fan, because if y'all remember my old channel when he did I think it was the East Atlanta Memphis joint is when I kind of started liking Dolph. But anything before that with him, Gucci bringing him out, I did not like this nigga. I thought his voice was annoying. And over time, he got into his he found himself as an artist, put it like that. And I gotta say, I haven't heard his entire catalog, but the joints that I've been listening to and reviewing, it's something there. Of course, it's a street element, same as a Ross or Jeezy or T.I., you know what I mean? Just on a different scale from his perspective, his lifestyle, coming up, and you have to respect that. So it's not like he don't know lyrical shit, but he does it in a finesse where he reminds you of somebody, you know what I mean, in a bad way, in a good way. And he has not one feature on here. He did everything himself, as far as the hooks, the lyrics, the verses, not one feature. We already see who the producers are. You seen that before I started talking, and it's just, in my opinion, he put out a good debut album. You know what I mean? But I definitely want to see what he gonna do um, on his sophomore project, because he could have reached out to a lot of artists, but he wanted to showcase who Young Dolph is. So this is what I think a lot of artists sometimes they don't do. They feel with the mixtape game that they build up their career and people know who they are. But when it's an album, you want to hear who the artist is. You don't want to listen to it because so-and-so is on the project, or this person has a verse. So I definitely feel like he did a good thing by showcasing his own talent. And then, for the people that are like new fans to him, you putting the pieces to the puzzle. And it's like, okay, let me go out and check his old work out. Like, oh, okay, so he worked with Ross, or he worked with Wayne, or he worked with 2 Chainz. Well, I like to hear what he gonna do in his next project. It makes sense that way. But everything doesn't come without a flaw. There's a couple joints on here, just a couple that I didn't really rock with. I thought was okay. Track 4, Both Ways. I kind of feel like after hearing track 1 through 3, by the time I got to track 4, that content was kind of repetitive in a way. Production wasn't all that, and far as his flow, it seemed a little off. So I thought it was okay. And Let Me See It, I've definitely heard better songs from Young Dolph as far as the content goes. But you definitely still hear this in a club, strip club, you know what I mean? But in my personal opinion, I thought it was okay. Other than that, he starts off the album with facts, you know what I mean? He shouts out a lot of artists and uses them in a semi-metaphorical way, you know what I mean? And basically, from what he's saying he's the king. Like, yeah, those niggas is cool, but I'm this. You know what I mean? So you gotta respect it on that. Going into Fuck It, got that anthem vibe, you know what I mean? A good beat. His flow when he get into the hook is crazy. Definitely enjoyed the content. I could see him actually putting a video out to this. This is actually dope. I definitely feel like he should push this record. Definitely around the summertime, I think a lot of people will really be fucking with this record. Royalty, I fuck with it. But going back to track 1 and 2, he telling the story, how he feel on track 1, and then on track 2, you know what I mean? He said something that was like, what the fuck? He said, ain't never sold cocaine, but I'm so street that I can cook it. I was like, wow, how tough is his hustle? You feel me? And on Royalty, it's just basically saying, you know what I mean? I treat family like, royalty, in the sense of, he hold them to a high regard, and you can respect that. Moving into track 5, How Could, he need a video for that ASAP. You know what I mean? That shit just knock is hard as fuck. I fuck with it. Like, that's a good record to me. And then we get into track 6, which is USA. And the thing that shocked me was he actually mentioned Bill Cosby at the end of it. Like, wow, like, I mean, not saying niggas don't watch the news, but that's kind of a shock. You wouldn't want to hear him I mean, not want to hear him, but you wouldn't expect him to mention that. Rather every artist talking about it or it's in the news. That just threw me for a loop. And then I feel he should have changed the title to the record because you put USA in it, but really don't shit go in the song with USA other than you using the US flag colors as metaphors for what he's saying in the song. So I was like, damn, he should have just changed the goddamn song. You know what I mean? It's a word within the hook that I felt he should have named the song, but I forgot to write it down. But other than that, the song's still dope. I still fuck with it. I definitely like the content. It was cool. The beat was dope. And yeah, it's a good record. Just he should have not called it the USA. I was like, what the fuck? Going to track 8, Get Paid, straight banger, good motivation song, hard beat. You know what I mean? Just basically go get a bag. Go get a check, go get some money. Fuck the bitches. The bitches will be there when you get the money. Like, you know what I mean? That whole old cliche. Bitches hang around money or hoes hang around money, whichever you want to call it. But I mean, I'd rather have women and hoes, and I don't want a woman around me just for some money. But nevertheless, it's still a banger. On My Way, another good record. Just basically him on his way to his chick, but the way he rapped about that situation, I was like, okay, he gonna make a whole song about a female, which is not bad, but he kind of didn't do that. He showed other elements within the song leading up to that, so I thought that was dope. I was like, okay, that's kind of a different way, because he could have just made like a type of street like chick song in a way, but he didn't do it, but he did in a way, if you get what I'm saying. But that shit was dope. I fuck with that. It's Going Down, track 10. Basically him having a good time. You know what I mean? He was popping shit on this record too. Let's not get it fucked up. This record is hard. He was popping hella shit. You know what I mean? And this is like the latter of the album, like the end of it. And from track 8, he just went stupid on this motherfucker though. You know what I mean? And it's just basically having a good night, turning up, doing what you do. And that's basically what the song about. And the last track, Real Life, he kind of got introspective. He talked about the if y'all didn't know, the car accident that he was in. The car flipped over so many times and he almost died in the song. Definitely got some good instruments in there. Good beat. Definitely thought that he kind of used like a little melody for the hook where he ain't singing or no melodic shit, but it definitely got a nice melody ring to it. He spitting game, talking that street shit, talking about getting this money, but it definitely was a good record. And overall, I had to say, like, I've listened to this shit since Friday. It's Saturday. I mean, it's 2 days, but the amount of time I spent listening to this album, definitely I had this on repeat. You know what I mean? So I feel like I purchased it. It was a good listen, and Young Dolph did his thing on his debut album. You know what I mean? It's not the super, super best, lyrical type project or the best trap shit we ever heard, but for him to have a debut album that's out and people could support it, I think that's a good look in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? And I definitely dug the production. He kept the songs to a minimum, which is good. He didn't oversaturate the album with fillers. He kept it to 11 tracks. You know what I mean? Got some good producers. Who on this joint? Zaytoven on here. I think Nard B on here, and a couple other people. But he kept it, minimal, and that's was a good thing. And I like 9 out of 11 records, which was good. I would have liked the whole body of work if he probably would have left one song off and left it 10. He would have had, kind of a perfect little street album. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. And the production as well. He definitely knew what he was doing. He had a game plan. He stuck to it. And to me, he executed. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Young Dolph debut album. And if he did have features on it, who would you want to see featured on this? It can be South artists, it can be New York artists, West Coast artists, Midwest artists. Just who y'all think would have been perfect on this record, and who would you want to see on this next record? Other than that, thanks for listening or watching. I'ma holler at y'all. Shout out to all the new supporters I see I got. We getting up there a little bit, you know what I mean? But, it take time to get to where you want to be. Other than that, I ain't got nothing else to say. One.